She was homeless, invisible to the world, yet one afternoon she was found teaching the daughter of a billionaire right on the cold streets where she lived. No books, no classroom, just raw knowledge and determination. But what followed wasn't just unexpected, it was shocking. Because the billionaire's reaction would expose not only his heart, but also a deeper truth about prejudice, privilege, and humanity itself. Why would a man with everything stop for a girl with nothing? And how did that moment change everyone who witnessed it? For most people, the sight of a billionaire's mansion meant power, success, and untouchable privilege. Inside its walls, life seemed flawless. His daughter had every toy, every tutor, every opportunity money could buy. Yet, just beyond those gates, the city told a different story. Among the forgotten faces on the streets was a young homeless girl, carrying nothing but a worn notebook and an unshakable determination to learn. Every day, she sat on the same corner, scribbling words and numbers, teaching herself as if the world hadn't already written her off. To others, she was invisible, just another child swallowed by poverty. But fate had a way of drawing unlikely paths together. One afternoon, while the billionaire's daughter wandered outside the estate, their worlds collided in a way no one could have predicted. What began as a quiet moment of curiosity would soon grow into something far greater, something that would test the billionaire's heart, his values, and his very definition of worth. The moment seemed innocent at first. A little girl in tattered clothes showing the billionaire's daughter how to sound out words, tracing letters on the pavement with a broken piece of chalk. But when the billionaire stepped outside and saw the scene, his expression hardened. To him, the sight was not touching, not inspiring, but troubling. His daughter, the heir to unimaginable wealth, was sitting on the ground with someone society had discarded. Whispers spread quickly among the staff. Some shook their heads in disapproval, muttering about dirty streets and bad influences. Others snickered at the absurdity of a homeless girl daring to teach the child of one of the wealthiest men alive. It wasn't just about poverty, it was about race, class, and the invisible line society drew. And in their eyes, that little girl had already crossed them. The billionaire pulled his daughter away, his voice sharp and cold. But the daughter resisted, clinging to her new friend with a stubborn innocence only children possess. She didn't see poverty. She didn't see race. She only saw kindness and the rare joy of learning something real. Her father, however, saw only humiliation, the kind that wealth and power are desperate to hide. Days passed, but the girl returned, waiting outside the mansion gates with her notebook in hand. And each time, the billionaire's daughter found her, sneaking moments of learning and laughter. What started as curiosity grew into friendship, but with every meeting, the tension built. Neighbors began to gossip, staff began to question, and the billionaire's anger began to boil. Finally, one afternoon, he confronted the girl directly. His words cut sharp, accusing her of overstepping, of tainting his daughter's future, of daring to believe she had anything to teach. Around them, onlookers smirked. Their prejudice lay bare in their eyes. The girl stood frozen, clutching her notebook like a shield, her cheeks burning with shame. But then something remarkable happened. Instead of walking away, the daughter spoke up, not with defiance, but with quiet conviction. She asked her father why kindness should be punished, why knowledge, no matter where it comes from, should be rejected. Her words silenced the crowd. leaving the billionaire face to face with a truth he had never been forced to consider. The moment hung in the air, tense and heavy, as if the world itself was waiting to see what he would do next. The air grew heavy, as silence wrapped around the courtyard. The billionaire's face, red with anger, was a storm ready to break. He tore the notebook from the homeless girl's hands and threw it to the ground, its fragile pages scattering like fallen leaves. Gasps erupted from the staff, some in shock, others in smug approval. For a moment, the girl just stood there, trembling, her eyes watering as if the very last piece of her dignity had been ripped away. But then, with trembling hands, she bent down, gathered the torn pages, and began to read aloud. Her voice cracked but grew steadier with every word math problem solved in seconds, lines of poetry memorized by heart, historical facts recited with precision. What the billionaire thought was weakness suddenly shone as brilliance. She wasn't just surviving, she was a teacher, a scholar, a child with a mind brighter than any diamond he could buy. His daughter stood beside her, clapping with pure, unshaken pride. "She's teaching me more than money ever has," she said, her words echoing louder than any insult. The crowd shifted uneasily, their smirks fading into silence. The image of a poor black homeless girl outshining the prejudice stacked against her was undeniable. For the first time, the billionaire faltered. His authority, his pride, his carefully built image, it all cracked in that instant. He looked at his daughter, then at the girl, and felt the weight of every watching eye. The world was no longer in his control, and in that fragile, unforgettable moment, the question hung in the air. Would he cling to prejudice or embrace the truth standing right before him? The courtyard remained frozen, the weight of silence pressing down like a final judgment. Slowly, the billionaire bent down, picked up one of the torn pages, and stared at the careful handwriting etched onto it. For the first time, he saw not poverty, not race, not shame, but brilliance that money could never buy. He extended the notebook back to the girl, his hands trembling with something he had not felt in years: humility. From that day forward, the girl was no longer left to fade into the background of the city. With support from the very man who once dismissed her, she gained access to education, shelter, and a chance to rise above the circumstances forced upon her. Yet the most powerful transformation was not hers alone, it was his. The billionaire learned that wealth meant nothing if it blinded him to humanity, and privilege was empty if it silenced compassion. But the story is bigger than one mansion, one family, or one girl with a notebook. It speaks to a truth we see every day: brilliance wasted, voices ignored, and lives dismissed because of skin color, class, or circumstance. For every child who is seen, thousands remain invisible until someone chooses to look deeper. So the question lingers: how many lives will remain overlooked? How many voices silenced before society decides that dignity and opportunity should not depend on wealth or race? And perhaps more importantly, when the moment comes to choose, will we have the courage to see humanity where the world has taught us not to?